History is often told through the stories of great men, but what about the women who carved their own paths, sometimes through chaos and fear? Today, we dive into the shadows to uncover the stories of the top 5 most dangerous women in history. These aren't your typical heroines. They were queens, criminals, and commoners who wielded power in ways that left a terrifying mark on the world. From poison and politics to sheer brutality, their legacies are as complex as they are chilling. So, buckle up as we journey back in time to meet the women who proved that danger knows no gender. Let us start our list with a name that still sends shivers down spines in Hungary. Elizabeth Bathory, the Blood Countess. Born into nobility in the 16th century, Elizabeth was one of the wealthiest and most powerful women in the kingdom. But behind the lavish exterior of her sieged castle, a horrifying story unfolded. Legends and historical accounts paint a gruesome picture of a woman obsessed with youth and beauty, who believed that bathing in the blood of young virgins would preserve her own. Over several decades, hundreds of young girls, mostly local peasants, were lured to the castle with promises of work as servants. They never returned. Survivors and witnesses later testified to unspeakable acts of torture. They described beatings, burnings, and mutilations, all allegedly orchestrated by the Countess herself and a few of her trusted servants. The sheer scale of her alleged crimes is staggering, with some estimates putting the number of victims as high as 650. 4 years, her noble status protected her from scrutiny, but eventually, the rumors grew too loud to ignore, especially when daughters of the lesser nobility began to disappear. In 1610, Hungarian authorities raided her castle, and what they found was horrifying enough to confirm the darkest tales. While her accomplices were tried and executed, Elizabeth's noble birth spared her a public trial. Instead, she was walled up in a set of rooms in her own castle, where she remained until her death 4 years later. To this day, the debate continues. Was she a sadistic serial killer, or a victim of a political conspiracy to seize her wealth and land? Whatever the truth, the legend of the Blood Countess remains one of history's most terrifying tales. Next, we travel from Eastern Europe to the heart of the Roman Empire to meet a woman whose ambition was matched only by her ruthlessness, Agrippina the Younger. Born into the Julio-Claudian dynasty, she was the great-granddaughter of Augustus, sister of Caligula, wife of Claudius, and mother of Nero. She was surrounded by power, and she was determined to claim it for herself and her son. Agrippina's life was a masterclass in political maneuvering. She survived the treacherous reign of her brother Caligula and used her cunning to marry her own uncle. The Emperor Claudius, after his third wife, was executed. As empress, she wasn't content to stay in the background. She was granted the title of Augusta, an unprecedented honor for an emperor's wife, and she worked tirelessly to position her son, Nero, as Claudius's heir, sidelining the emperor's own son, Britannicus. But her ambition had a dark side. Ancient historians, like Tacitus and Suetonius, accuse her of orchestrating a series of poisonings to eliminate her rivals. The most famous of these alleged victims was Emperor Claudius himself. The story goes that she served him a dish of poisoned mushrooms, clearing the way for Nero to ascend to the throne, with her 16-year-old son as emperor. Agrippina initially acted as the true power behind the scenes, her face even appearing alongside Nero's on early coins. However, Nero soon grew tired of his mother's control. Their relationship soured, leading to a deadly power struggle. Nero made several attempts on her life, including a famously botched plot involving a collapsible boat designed to drown her. When that failed, he sent assassins to her villa. Facing her end, Agrippina is said to have bared her womb to the soldiers and cried, "Strike here," a chilling acknowledgement that the son she had put on the throne was now her executioner. Agrippina the Younger was a brilliant political operator, but her story is a stark reminder of how deadly the pursuit of power can be. Now, let us journey to the lawless American frontier and meet a woman who became a legend of the Wild West. Belle Starr, known as the Bandit Queen. Belle's life was a whirlwind of crime, romance, and rebellion. She wasn't a noble or a royal. She was a woman who chose a life outside the law and played the game as well as any man. Born Mira Mabel, Shirley in Missouri. Belle's early life was marked by the turmoil of the Civil War. Her family were Confederate sympathizers, and she fell in with notorious outlaws like the James Younger gang. This was her entry into the criminal underworld. She married several outlaws throughout her life, most notably Sam Starr, a member of the Cherokee Nation, and together they led a gang known for horse rustling, bootlegging, and robbery. Belle Starr cultivated her own image. She was known for riding side saddle, while dressed in black velvet and carrying 2 pistols. She was a skilled rider and a crack shot, and she used her charm and intelligence to navigate the dangerous world of outlaws and lawmen. She wasn't necessarily the leader of every heist, but she was the brain and the heart of her operation, organizing the gang and fencing the stolen goods. Her home in Oklahoma, known as Younger's Bend, became a notorious hideout for fugitives. For a price, criminals on the run could find a safe haven there. But Belle's life of crime eventually caught up with her. She was arrested several times, but often managed to get acquitted or serve minimal sentences. Her luck ran out in 1889, just 2 days before her 41st birthday. She was ambushed and killed while riding home. Her murder was never solved, with suspects ranging from a disgruntled neighbor to her own husband. Belle Starr's life was short and violent, but her legend as the Bandit Queen has made her an enduring symbol of the untamed Wild West. Our 4th dangerous woman takes us to 1930s America during the Great Depression. This was the era of gangsters and public enemies, and one woman stood out among them all: Ma Barker. Her story, however, is one of the most debated on our list. Was she the criminal mastermind the FBI portrayed her as, or just the mother of a brutal gang of thugs? Kate Ma Barker was the matriarch of the Barker Carpis Gang, a notorious group that terrorized the Midwest for years. The gang, which included her sons Herman, Lloyd, Arthur, and Fred, as well as the infamous Alvin Carpis, was responsible for a string of bank robberies, kidnappings, and murders. They were one of the most feared criminal outfits of their time. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover crafted the public image of Ma Barker as the evil genius behind the gang's operations. She was portrayed as a ruthless, cigar-smoking matriarch who planned all their heists and would unhesitate to gun down anyone who got in their way. This narrative made for a great story and helped solidify the FBI's tough-on-crime reputation. The media ran with it, and Ma Barker became a household name, a symbol of female criminality. However, many who knew the gang, including Alvin Carpis himself, disputed this version of events. Carpis later wrote that Ma Barker had no role in their criminal activities. He described her as an old-fashioned homebody who simply traveled with her sons and had no more criminal brains than a flea. According to this account, she was a mother who looked the other way, perhaps, but certainly not a criminal mastermind. The legend of Ma Barker came to a violent end in 1935 when FBI agents surrounded her hideout in Florida. After a 4-hour shootout, both Ma and her son Fred were found dead inside. Whether she was a cold-blooded killer or simply a mother in the wrong place at the wrong time, the myth created by the FBI has cemented her place in history as one of America's most dangerous women. Finally, we come to a woman whose name became synonymous with poison and death. In early 20th century Italy, the soap maker of Correggio. Her story is perhaps the most bizarre and gruesome of all. On the surface, Leonarda was a kind, gentle neighbor, a mother who would do anything for her children. But beneath that facade was a deeply superstitious and disturbed mind that led her to commit unimaginable acts. Leonarda had a difficult life, marked by tragedy and loss. She had 17 pregnancies, but 13 of her children died young. This immense loss fueled a desperate, almost pathological need to protect her for surviving children. When a favorite son, Giuseppe, was called to fight for the Italian army in World War II, Leonarda's fear spiraled out of control. Convinced that she needed to make a human sacrifice to ensure his safety, she devised a horrific plan. She targeted 3 middle-aged women in her neighborhood. Her first victim was a lonely spinster named Faustina Setti. Leonarda convinced her she had found her a husband in another town, telling her to keep it a secret. On the day Setti was supposed to leave, she visited Leonarda for a final farewell. Leonarda served her a drugged glass of wine and then killed her with an axe. She then dismembered the body and, in her own chilling confession, described how she rendered the fat into soap and mixed the blood into batter for tea cakes. which she served to unsuspecting visitors. She repeated this horrific ritual with 2 more women, Francesca Soavi and Virginia Casiupo, using similar methods of luring them with false promises before killing them. The disappearances eventually raised suspicion, and the police traced the last victim back to Leonarda. They found evidence of her crimes, and she confessed in detail, showing no remorse and insisting she did it all to protect her son. Leonarda Cianciulli was found guilty and spent the rest of her life in an asylum, leaving behind a legacy of horror that proves danger can hide behind the most ordinary of faces. From a bloodthirsty countess and a power-hungry empress to a bandit queen, a gangster's mother, and a soap-making killer, these women have left their terrifying mark on history. Their stories are a dark reminder that ambition, greed, and fear can drive anyone to do the unthinkable. They challenge our perceptions and show us a side of history that is often left untold. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the dark side. If you found this video fascinating, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you do you want to miss our next deep dive into the mysteries of the past. Let me know in the comments which of these women you find the most chilling, or if there's another historical figure you'd like us to cover. Until next time, stay curious.